All right, let's jump right in. Have you ever been super excited to learn something new, maybe coding or a new language or even an instrument, only to just give up before you even really get going? Well, what if I told you there's this one simple rule, this one mental model that could totally flip the script and help you master skills way faster than you ever thought was possible?
It really all kicks off with a problem that I think we've all been through. That feeling of just being completely swamped.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You get this burst of inspiration, you're all fired up to learn something new, and then, bam, you see it. It's this absolute mountain of books, endless online courses, a zillion tutorials all labeled for beginners. And just like that, all that energy, all that excitement, it just fizzles out.
This is what people call analysis paralysis, and it's a real thing. You spend so much time trying to map out the perfect starting point that you never actually start. It's this huge, invisible wall for anyone trying to teach themselves something.
But here's where things get really interesting. This is the big twist in this whole explainer. What if the problem isn't the giant mountain of information? What if the real problem is the way we've been taught to climb it? Think about it. We're always told that to be good at something, you have to know everything about it, right? You got to read the entire textbook, watch every single video, understand every little detail before you can even think about being effective. But what if that whole perfectionist mindset is the very thing that's holding you back?
And that brings us to the absolute heart of the idea from our source material. Seriously, just take a second and let this one sink in. It is such a powerful, game-changing concept. The idea is that a massive chunk of any skill can be learned by focusing on a tiny, supercritical slice of the theory.
Now, this isn't just some catchy phrase somebody made up. Nope, it's actually a direct application of a really well-known principle that you see everywhere, in business, in economics, even out in nature. It's called the Pareto principle, and you've probably heard of it before, maybe in a business class or something. It's the idea that 80% of a company's profits come from just 20% of its customers. Or think about your own closet. I bet you wear 20% of your clothes about 80% of the time. It's this pattern that shows up over and over again.
So here's the big takeaway for us. When you're learning anything new, there's always a vital few, a core set of ideas and techniques that will give you almost everything you need to be up and running. The rest, a lot of it is just details and rare situations that, honestly, you can just pick up as you go.
And this visual just nails it, doesn't it? I mean, look at the leverage you get here. You put in a focused 20% effort on the most critical stuff, and you get this massive 80% payoff in actual skill. It's all about learning smarter, not just harder.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, but it brings up the million-dollar question, right? How in the world do you actually find that critical 20%?
Yeah, it sounds a little abstract, but believe it or not, there's a pretty simple mental model you can use for just about anything you want to learn.
Okay, let's walk through this process together. First, you deconstruct the skill. Just break it down into the smallest possible pieces you can think of. Step 2, identify the core components. You have to ask yourself, what are the parts I'm going to use all the time? So if you're learning a language, that might be the 300 most common words. If it's coding, it's probably a handful of key functions. Third, isolate the blockers. This is huge. What's the one thing that if you don't get it, you're just stuck? And finally, you just focus all your energy, all your practice on those high-frequency parts.
So what this all gives us isn't just a learning hack. It's a whole new roadmap, a completely different way of thinking about how to tackle any new skill.
Now this slide, this is where it all clicks. Look at the comparison. The old way, the 100% way, it just leads to overwhelm because you're drowning in theory. But the 80-20 way, it builds momentum because it's all about function. You start getting these little wins right from the start, and that's what keeps you motivated. It's a huge shift from I have to know everything to I just need to be able to do the most important things.
And that right there is the absolute key. This isn't about becoming a walking encyclopedia. The goal is functional mastery. It's the ability to actually use the skill to get the result you're after. All the extra stuff, that can come later with more time and practice.
So that really just leaves us with one final question. Now that you have this 80-20 mindset, now that you know you can get most of the way there by just zeroing in on a few critical pieces, what's that one skill, the one that always seemed way too big or too intimidating, that you're going to go master now?